Emmett's turning 5. He's going to kindergarten. I am going to take a pause and spend the summer with him and just really kind of enjoy. I did separate with Emmett's dad about a year and a half ago. To this day, we would probably consider each other best friends or really great friends. We are equal parents, which I think is so important. Emmett has been our number one throughout that entire journey of separation. And like to the point where we were reframing, like, Emmett, this is amazing that you get 2 houses and 2 rooms and 2 Christmases, and like made it such a positive experience for him that he knew no different, honestly.
I have witnessed both of you leaning into each other to make sure that you're helping one another be the best parent. And that is huge. It's making sure that you are a supportive co-parent. Both of you do that, and it's beautiful to see.
I definitely agree. I think that when you continue to do the next right thing for you, the universe rewards you. Eventually I'll retire and want to look back and reminisce on all the pool days I had with him before he went to kindergarten, and those will be the good old days. So, you know, Zach and I were first-time parents trying to learn it all. I think that, you know, we were, newsflash, we did separate, but we were together for 6 years. And really, you know, we did everything that we knew to do. We, you know, had Emmett, built our careers, was able to kind of move up the ladder, bought a house. I will say, I think I was 10 months postpartum. I did get a call from one of my childhood best friends, her older sister, and she was like, hey, like, I know that, you know, you're majoring in business and you're studying business, and like you have Emmett, and this entry-level sales role would be great. And I was just like, you know what? Yeah, like, because I was kind of questioning what I wanted to do. I've always known I wanted to go into business. I did a lot of business classes in high school, did DECA, and I knew I was going for business. But she was really like, yeah, I would love for you to just interview and apply. And I remember this distinctly. It was like early September. I hop on the interview, and, you know, we talk back and forth for about 30 minutes, and they're like, okay, when can you start? Like, you got the job, like, when can you start? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, absolutely. Just give me 2 weeks to figure out childcare. Like, I just need 2 weeks. And so that was just a big blessing in disguise, because it really was such a pivotal, I think, just point in my life and my career. Sales is a lifelong skill that I was able to learn really young. If anyone is not familiar, a sales development representative is typically, you know, making 50, 60 phone calls a day, often cold calling. It's a grind. And if you are persistent, consistent, and are providing value, you may move up, or you might get burned out. And I felt very lucky and blessed in that role, where I did have some opportunities to go to conferences and kind of showcase my skills, if you will. And I was able to move to that next level, which was an account executive. And in that role just provided more stability for the life that I wanted to give Emmett. And it was just an amazing, amazing organization. I had incredible mentorship there. I had a manager that just did nothing but believe in me and like see the good in me and empower me, which was amazing, and is kind of an anomaly these days. I was there for 4 years, and then another position kind of also came knocking at my door that was too good to pass up. And it just felt like, I think the common theme from college, studying, having a baby, is that you can't stop believing in yourself. And I just knew that everything was going to work out no matter what that looked like. And I felt like the universe kept blessing me along that journey. And I was there for about almost a year, and at this new position. And this past summer, I was like, you know what? Emmett's turning 5. He's going to kindergarten. I am going to take a pause and spend the summer with him and just really kind of enjoy motherhood, because I think two things can exist at the same time: your career and mothering. But I really kind of felt like, maybe I did miss out on some of those, pivotal points in his early development, or maybe I just wanted to just be with him more. So I was able to just make that decision, and I definitely don't regret it for a second, because I've been able to have pool days and all the things. But alongside that career journey, I did separate with Emmett's dad about a year and a half ago. And no animosity at all. Actually, to this day, we would probably consider each other best friends, or really great friends. We are equal parents, which I think is so important. And I recognize that my situation is not necessarily the normal. We did co-parenting therapy to kind of learn about, how can we just stay committed to Emmett and nothing else. Like, Emmett has been our number one throughout that entire journey of separation. And like, to the point where we were reframing, like, Emmett, this is amazing that you get 2 houses and 2 rooms and 2 Christmases, and like made it such a positive experience for him that he knew no different, honestly. Like, he was just so excited that, he had 2 of everything. And one thing that Zach has in Emmett's room at his house is a picture of me and Emmett together in Emmett's room on his nightstand. And then also at my house, I have a picture of him and Emmett together in his room. So knowing that, like, when he's at my house, Daddy still loves you, and he's right here. You can talk to him at any point. And then same for Zach. And I will add too, in my career development, that Zach and I necessarily weren't like the best partners for each other, but I do think that when you have an equal parent, it does take some of that mental load off, where I was able to travel for work without having to think about, daycare pickup and drop off, or what's being made for dinner, or, like, hey, I scheduled this dentist appointment for Emmett. Like, just those things came natural to him, because he wanted to be a dad. Honestly, I think, like, if he wanted to, he would, kind of thing. And not saying that, like, mothers shouldn't carry all of that load, but I think it is extremely powerful when you do have an equal parent that allows you the space to grow into the individual and into your career. So anything you'd add there?
I was just going to say, I have witnessed both of you leaning into each other to make sure that you're helping one another be the best parent that you can be. And that is huge. It
Yes.
has gone above and beyond of just like Emmett's number one.
Mhm.
It's making sure that you are a supportive co-parent, and both of you do that, and it's beautiful to see.
Yes.
For sure.
I agree 100%. I think too, something that I wrestled with in the separation process was like I promised myself that, like, Emmett would not be living this reality. Like, he would have parents that were together. He wouldn't be raised like how I was. And something that I learned in co-parenting, it's like the co-parenting therapy, she said, yeah, yes, and yes,
Mhm.
that is the reality, but
Mhm.
you get to do things differently. You guys don't
Mhm.
have to punish each other. Like,
Mhm.
for example, like, Emmett, I had him in his basketball shoes and his basketball for
Mhm.
Wednesday night. He has practice. And I was like, hey, can I drop this off to you? Versus, hey, like, I need you here at this time to pick up this. It's
Mhm.
just like, how can we continue to meet each other for
Yeah.
Emmett?
Yeah.
Um, and not necessarily go through life punishing each other,
Yeah.
um, which is something that maybe I may have seen a little bit kind of in that co-parenting relationship that I experienced growing up. So um, I think it's amazing opportunity that we get to do things differently, and
Mhm.
Emmett gets to, like, he knows nothing but love, which
Mhm.
is honestly, as a mom, that's all I could ask for. Um, well, and number one, one thing that I want him to walk through life is always being kind to everyone, but
Yeah.
also I think kindness and love go hand in hand. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's been a learning curve, but it's been really, honestly, um, super wonderful.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to share a couple of things that I think are important to know your story to know is that, not only are you raising your son Emmett to be a thoughtful, present, wonderful human being, and you and Zach have done a phenomenal job with that. But both of you have been great stewards of your careers as well.
Mhm.
And through this pause, it was, and I watched this firsthand, it was, can I do this? Should I do this? Going back and
Mhm.
forth and, really trying to figure out what was best for you. And I feel like when you made those decisions, you set yourself up so that you had the space and time to do that. You have other
Yes.
opportunities coming.
Mhm.
And and other people saying to you, "Well, you could just take a break and come right back," which is
No.
a testament to you as a person. I mean, you were like the number one salesperson. You were always like the leader of people, helping them grow and figure out things as well. So I just, for people that may be listening and struggling, it's like you can take a pause and, right?
Mhm.
Like you can
Yeah.
do what's best for you and it may not look the same as someone else. And giving yourself permission. And sometimes I mean you don't have all the answers. Nobody has
No.
all the answers. And so going into that space knowing that you're still trying to figure things out is a great place to be too. Because, you
Yes.
know,
No, I definitely agree. I think that when you continue to do the next right thing for you, the universe rewards you. And when I say the universe, it could be, whatever you believe in, whatever faith or God, higher power, the world conspires around you when you continue to do the next right thing, be, you know, the kind neighbor, or even, I mean, like in my example, I knew I wanted more time this summer with Emmett, and
mhm,
I don't have all the answers. I'll be the first to admit, but I know I've been in, these situations before, and everything has worked out. And like you said, like, I do have other opportunities just like coming to me naturally. I think because I have chosen to do the next right thing for me and my family, and
mhm,
you'll never regret, investing in that. Again, at the end of the day, all we have is really each other.
mhm,
And, eventually I'll retire and, want to look back and reminisce on all the pool days I had with him before he went to kindergarten. And those will be the good old days. So
Yeah. And it just so happened to coincide with my sabbatical.
yeah, honestly, see again, like everything is in alignment.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
Evan, changing jobs. It's just, and Luke too. I mean, but he's, but and your brother learning how to drive, my
Yeah.
youngest. So you've been able to be present for a lot of different family members as well. But
Hmm.
can you, I know this story, but can you kind of share some of those inspirational, multi-generational women that
Yeah.
have helped you throughout where you are today?
Yeah, I'd love to. So really, I would say the first person that truly, helped in my career starting out as a sales development representative was, and she's still helping me to this day, is a woman named Leah. And uh, basically, when you're a sales development representative, typically you are aligned with an account
Mhm,
executive. So you're
mhm,
helping them kind of hunt and gather leads.
mhm,
You are fielding inbound
mhm,
leads, qualifying them, and then booking them with the account executive to then
mhm,
carry them through the sales cycle. Um, I was paired with a woman named Leah,
mhm.
and she was just amazing. She was just always,
And let's
um,
tell everybody how old he is. I mean, or
well,
just
at
like
the
she.
time, I think she was mid 40s.
Okay.
Yeah, she was mid 40s, and I
Yeah.
was very, very early 20s, like
Mhm,
21,
mhm,
first job ever. And I was adamant to just learn everything from her. I was a sponge. I was
mhm,
like, let's schedule weekly meetings. How
mhm,
can I, make sure that the leads that I'm booking on your calendar are of high quality? What are the questions I should be asking? What is the research that I should be doing before they make it to your calendar? So we just strategized every week for a good, 6 to 8 months. And then
mhm.
she was like, Emma, like, you should start joining some of these demos with me so that you can see like the product and how those conversations are ran. And so she was just, I don't even know if she asked permission. She just started inviting me to these meetings. And she just was like a huge advocate for me in my career
Mhm,
growth. And then there was a huge conference coming up in Nashville. And she really just kind of planted the seed in her manager's ear like, hey, like, Emma, she's an SDR. She should go. She can scan leads. She can kind of field
mhm.
and make sure that the leads are going to the right reps and all the
Yeah,
things. And I kind of helped build a case. She definitely like helped build that case. And
yeah.
I went to that show and I was just selling in front of, at the time I didn't know, but my future manager who was
Mhm,
at the booth, and which is Leah's manager.
mhm,
And he was like, I would say like 6 months after that, they kind of either opened or created a role, and I got promoted. And I just felt like if it wasn't, I mean, I knew that I was a go getter, but it also helps when another woman sees that in you and is
yeah,
like, let's team up and go get it all together. And we
yeah,
really were kind of this dream team, and people
yeah.
said that at work too. They're like, Emma and Leah, they just, you know,
Don't you feel,
just,
I feel like she didn't just mentor you, she sponsored you. And
yeah,
there's such a difference there because she wasn't
yes,
just telling you, this is what you should do. She said,
mhm,
"Come with me. Come with
yes,
me and let's do this together." And I'm so grateful for her, like as a parent,
yes,
just,
yeah,
just as a woman too, because I think about her like, doing that for you, and I think about how she's passing the baton to you so that, the impact that's having on your family, on your career, on your sense of self, on all of the things, right?
mhm,
Like, her mentoring and then sponsoring you has led in part to you being able to take that pause with Emmett,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And hearing her stories too. I mean, she
Mhm,
was able, before remote work was even a thing, like she was
mhm,
able in the early 2000s to work from home while working and staying home with three kids because she knew
mhm,
that time was invaluable. Like, never get
mhm.
those days back. But she was able to make space for that as well.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why not why, but also seeing, bits and pieces of your story and the next woman's story. And I'm like, everyone at some point comes to an epiphany where I need a mental health break, a sabbatical, a pause to be with my children, to reset.
Mhm,
And that's okay. And that's actually a very normal,
mhm.
normal thing to encounter, especially in corporate America when we're just so used to go, 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 where it's complete burnout. And
Mhm,
I really think, and I'm so excited when I step into this next season of my career.
mhm.
I do think I will be refreshed, rejuvenized, and ready to hit the ground running. I am getting a little stir crazy, just having all of this time. But also,
Mhm.
like, I get to have this time. Like, that is a
Yeah.
huge blessing. I get to take a step back from work
Mhm.
and be with
Yeah.
Emmett. And I mean, Mom, like we've just been all over the country
Yeah.
this summer.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it has
Yeah.
been absolutely
Yeah.
incredible.
Mhm.
So
And throughout our history of women in our family, I think about the women that have helped us along the way. Like my mom, going back to school from she was a hairdresser, then went back to school to be a nurse. And the women that helped her along the way to watch her kids so that she could go to school, so that she could become, the nurse that she was. And then my dad helping her get her master's degree. We won't say that he
yeah.
did a lot of the work, but we will.
But
Um,
again, equal
yes, he was an equal
partner.
partner that
Yes.
helped ensure that she, won in the and then they were able to help me, raise you and help with
Mhm.
babysitting and all of the things. Um, yeah, and your dad's grandmother who would come over to while I was in school to help raise you guys and give me some space to do my college work. Like it's about those women who are the helpers
Yeah.
and do sponsor women, even if they're not in the same career. You have a neighbor, Margaret, who comes over and, I mean, just
Yes.
always
She
encouraging you.
always checking in on me. Like we're little pen pals. We live right next door to each other.
Mhm,
But she's like, "How's your day? Pics of Emmett. Is he doing
mhm,
t-ball this fall?" Or
mhm,
sometimes she'll just be like, "I left a little sweet treat by your door, and it's
mhm,
a bottle of wine or brownies for Emmett or whatever that is."
mhm,
She's just a community builder,
mhm,
and I
mhm,
think that's what I strive to be too. And I hope for like my friends that I am that. Like I try to remember anniversaries and birthdays. And I think that handwritten notes and letters go a long way and
mhm,
fresh flowers. And um, yeah, I hope to continue to carry that on because somebody gave that to me.
mhm,
And I think we just have to keep passing that down. Those
mhm.
gestures and those um, those kind, sincere moments that make you feel like you're not alone. Like
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Like I truly feel like linking independent women is a place where we can do that for women through
Hmm.
storytelling.
Yes.
And um, we learn from each other that way.
Hmm.
And I know that there's like levels of privilege that,
Yes.
you
Like,
know, I did grow up on food stamps and all of that, but I was able to work through things so that, I wasn't, that you guys didn't, but there's nothing wrong with getting the help that you need. Actually,
Yes.
I was when Evan was young,
And
um, on
yes.
WIC and things like that. So it's like just knowing that there is help out there and then seeing women that need help and being there. I just want this to be a place for everyone, you
Abs-
know?
in every season too, because I will add on to like the privilege part. Zach and I, when we had Emmett, we were very poor, very very poor, and poor may not be the right word because I feel like we were rich in other, like we had each other, we had our family, we had so many other blessings and privileges, but in terms of monetary value, we didn't have much. I was in college and he was kind of leasing like apartments and that kind of thing. And I do feel like in very privileged to have that support system that we had.
Mhm,
Um, Although we struggled financially, I was also on WIC. So, fun
mhm,
fact, if you have a child really young, and I don't know if it's necessarily due to age specifically, but Zach and
mhm.
I weren't married. I was 20, and it's due to income. So, I had no
Yeah,
income because I was in school.
yeah.
And so I was on WIC and Snap, and I'm going to be the first to tell you that those resources were absolutely life saving for me, who is
Mhm,
extremely privileged. But
mhm.
I got a breast pump for free through them and a lactation consultant. So I was able to breastfeed Emmett for 13 months, which
Oh, that's amazing.
is
Yeah, I forgot that.
incredible. And I had
Mhm.
a woman that I texted every day, like, hey, my nipples are bleeding. Is this normal? And she's like just would immediately
Yeah,
respond with remedies and, hey, come into the office tomorrow. Like, let's fit you for different, breast pump sizes. And like to the point where WIC actually had a breastfeeding photo shoot. So a lot of times those moms, in terms of like funds and we don't necessarily have those resources to
yeah.
capture those intimate moments,
Moment.
like whether
Yeah.
that's like a newborn photo shoot or, but there was a mom and me photo shoot that they did for babies and for feeding and all of that. So I got to have some of those sweet pictures taken. And honestly, like those resources are invaluable. And I felt very blessed to have that for the first year of
Mhm,
Emmett's life.
mhm.
Um, and yeah, I think that I mean they're life saving and honestly life giving and life changing and I met also incredible women through there, even though they were just a glimmer of my story. Like looking back, it's like I envision just this circle of women all holding hands, like
Yeah,
just like we're gonna get her through this kind of
yeah,
thing. And they really did. And
yeah. I remember that. I remember because it was COVID time, so it was like, they weren't always I couldn't always be there,
yeah.
and that was pretty terrible as a mom.
Well,
But
and
so
mom, you were going through your own stuff too. Like grandma had just passed, and that was a
Mhm,
traumatic experience for you, seeing her pass away in the hospital, and like only one person was able to be in the room. And like same during my birth, I had actually a traumatic birth. Like only Zach was able, and I really wanted you there. And I remember thinking, I'm like, do I want my mom or do I want Zach? And I was like, I mean, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I obviously Zach was the right person to have there as his son, but um,
He was on the phone with me the whole time.
yeah, he was. He was like, I remember he's like, she's 7 centimeters. Like, he
Mhm.
was ready to
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
ready to birth that baby himself, honestly, probably. But
yeah,
yeah, like we all, and I think that's also part of my story is that we all have to give each other grace too, because we all did what we could do. My brother Evan knew my financial situation, and looking back, I was 20 and 21. He was, what is he, 2.5 years older than me? So he was 23, 24. He was sending me money like every month just to like, just here's this, like go to dinner, like have like normal experiences. Yes, sent me money every month.
I forgot that.
And I felt like, honestly, that's a testament to how you raised us, because one thing I remember about your parenting is that you always said, if I die, you guys have each other. Like you always say that. Like whether we were in an argument, you're like
You
you
better
just
hold hands. You better hold hands.
she didn't do timeouts, she didn't spank us, but she made us hold hands and walk down the street together. Like she was like, you guys have each other at the end of the day, and you better get your shit together. Is basically, and so I will say, like Evan, Luke, and I, and Noah as well. There's a bit of an age gap there, but like we would do anything for each other. We'd, give the shirt off each other's backs for each other. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
like,
think also you guys, you care about community outside of each
yeah,
other too, and I think that's huge. That's
yes, definitely. Um, One thing I did not mention about my story that I think is very pivotal, um, was the year of 2024,
hmm
which was like I look back in all of my 25 years of life, actually almost 26 years of life.
hmm
Um, 2024 was probably the hardest. I mean, it was harder than the concussions and the depression and all of that. Um, 2024 February, I was working out at a gym called Vasa, if anyone's familiar with that. And in an area that I was extremely familiar with, I grew up hiking and kayaking and spending most of my weekends at Eagle Creek and Rick's Boatyard. And it was like a Thursday night in February, early February, and I had scheduled just like a yoga class, and I was going to do the sauna there. And
hmm
there was a shooting, a gym shooting, and two people were shot, and I was there, and I think six other shots went off, and it was just mass chaos. There were
hmm
150 people that night in the gym. I mean, it was like peak gym hours, or at least when gym hours, like peak gym hours, were trying to like level off. It was like 8:30,
hmm
and everybody was just running for their life. And I remember in that moment, I didn't know what was going to happen or if I was going to live or die.
hmm
And I think
Yeah.
when you go through, um, I mean, everyone was running for their lives. It was just extreme chaos. And you saw some of the aftermath because you had to come pick me up. But I just remember like running and running and not stop running because I just kept telling myself, Emmett needs his mom. Like, Emmett
hmm
needs his mom. And that was a pretty traumatic event that I had to kind of navigate. Um,
hmm
and that's when I knew also
hmm
vulnerability is a superpower, to ask for help again.
Yeah.
And I started going through individual therapy, EMDR
hmm
therapy, just to kind of reprocess that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I couldn't even go into Meijer or go grocery shopping without looking for my exit doors. Or
Yeah.
I remember shortly after that, Zach and I took Emmett to an Indy Fuel game, and a hockey puck like hit the plexiglass, and it was like we need to get out of here. Like we're not.
hmm
I did the work, and I went through EMDR therapy to kind of reprocess that. I actually went through 3 sessions, and
hmm
that was it gave me my life back. Like I just wasn't on edge the whole time. I wasn't when I was traveling for work. I wasn't like for the full 4-hour flight. I wasn't like those planes going to go down. I'm going to die. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
everything I did felt like it was death.
hmm
And I think too, when you go through, I mean, I would call it a near death experience. I
Yes.
would assume that people who went through school shootings or anything similar or experienced gun violence would probably consider it a near death experience. you realize what's important.
Mm-hmm.
And um, yeah, I realized I had maybe just not, I think, learned who I was
Yeah.
before I started
Yeah.
going through that kind of
Mm-hmm.
second stint of therapy. And it
Mm-hmm.
really did give me um, some tools to just kind of learn who I was. And I also was kind of going through that separation and shortly after that. And I was like, now is the time to learn who I am. I've been a
Mm-hmm.
young mom.
Mm-hmm.
I've advanced my career, but those were the only two things I knew about myself. I knew I was a successful salesperson. I knew I was a good mom. I had no idea who I was outside of those two things, which honestly is, or both, those are both amazing things, right, to have. But last summer, I really took like a whole year off of like that relationship and wasn't dating, wasn't seeing anyone. I was just falling in love with myself and my life.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to London
Yep.
and we like booked a last minute trip there. And I found myself reading books in the gardens. And it was just, I felt like that trip to London was like coming back to me, to like
Mm-hmm.
the younger version of me. And I feel like kind of right now with taking this pause from my
Yeah.
career
Yeah.
is life is just cycles of coming back to yourself. It really is. And it's not wrong. Like it's not something to be like ashamed of. Carry shame with like not knowing the answers and you
Mm-hmm.
know taking that time for yourself and for your family, like there's no shame in that at all.
Right.
Um, and I really do believe like right now I'm coming back to myself again.
Yeah.
And, you
Yeah. And
know,
you're
I
right
just,
where you're supposed to be,
yeah,
you know?
yes, I deserve to be happy. And one of my old coworkers said, like on a work trip, they were like, and Emmett deserves a happy mom. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is also eye opening because a lot of that happiness is inward in how I perceive life and how I move through life. It's about me,
Yeah.
and I could go on and on about maternal mental health and how that correlates with your children's happiness. But that can be something for another time. But yeah, I'd say that Emma is a pretty happy kid.
Emmett is a pretty lucky kid. Yes. Fortunate kid to have you as his mom.
Oh,
Um, Anything else you want to share? Like, what brings you joy right now?
yeah. Um, I'd say like recently I discovered, um, I know I kind of touched on the gym shooting, but recently I discovered and I'm slowly starting to like work out again and maybe eventually go through exposure therapy and go to a gym again.
Mm-hmm.
But I discovered running in the form of freedom and not punishment. Like, I have always associated running with just like, oh, like I just need to do this to lose weight or I need to do this. It was something I needed to do. And it's like running, like I get to do it. And I feel like I've been running a little bit more and just listening to music and just like feeling free
Mm-hmm.
versus feeling caged. So, kind of reshaping my relationship with running. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that is kind of bringing me joy because it gets to be what I want it to be, and I want it to be freedom and not
Yeah,
like the song "Sia Bird Set Free."
I
Um,
love
yeah. Any other questions you have for me? We touch on. I feel like you've probably, I mean, you've been through this.
it.
Well,
Yeah, I would say, I would ask, what's next, but I feel like it's whatever you want it to be.
yeah,
And you're in the driver's seat and you get to choose, which is such a great place to be. And I think about the why behind you choosing Emma and how and the
Mhm.
amazing women that you've come in contact, and then the women that you have blessed along the way too. You have impacted a lot of women in a very short time on this earth. Um, there are so many women that come up to me when they meet you and they're like, "Your daughter Emma, we just feel so lucky to have her or lucky to know her," or so I don't
Yeah.
know. Thanks for sharing your story, and I know it's going to impact a lot of women.
Yes, absolutely, and thanks for being my mom.
I'm the lucky one. So,
Aw,
okay.
well, bye for now. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye.